Call Iberia Parish Council meeting to order. Is July 10th, 2024, time 6 o'clock. We'll have the prayer by Marcus Broussard and the pledge by Scott Marcinet.
All right, but try to speak loud. Let's say a prayer. Our Father, Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Everyone, please face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Tommy Pollard. Michael Landry. Marcus Broussard.
Here.
Lloyd Brown.
Here.
Warren Gosheson. Natalie Broussard. Dustin Swear.
here.
James Trahan.
Here.
Scott Ronsonet.
Here.
Brock Pellerin. Brian Napier.
Here.
Lady Fontanette Brown. Cayman Capel. And Chad Maturin.
All right, we have a quorum. Council member announcements. I see we have one from Marcus Broussard.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to, make some folks know out there. We hear all the time we don't have things for our kids to do. Well, they're starting to come. We have a flag football registration coming up here soon. It's going to end in late July, 31st, I believe. Just picked it up this year. The Iberia Parish Parks and Rec is going to be hosting the America's Flag Football. It's for kids, and I'm sorry, my eyes are getting bad. Pre-K through 8th grade. And, if you have sons, daughters interested in playing flag football and doing something, here at home without having to go to Broussard or Youngsville to do it, here's an option for you. So just wanted to make it known. It's our first year doing it here at the Parks and Rec, and hope everyone signs up for it. That's it, sir.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other council member announcements, we'll go on to parish president announcements.
Well, actually, boys in here yet to start the digital, but let's go on and get started anyway. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Talk about the litter abatement program. Litter abatement took place on Saturday, June the 22nd. A total of 12 people participated in it from 8 to noon. We picked up a total of 143 bags of trash, which includes televisions and tin and plastic chairs all around the area of Nelson Canal Road, Blanchard Road, and parts of Darnell Road. Of course, when you're doing that, you're dealing with your tires and you're dealing with everything else that we pick up. It was a lot of collection. We had a lot of people, 12 people, so it worked out extremely good. On February the 26th through July the 9th, Public Works Department completed several tasks, which included culverts inspections and cleaning, debris removal that included illegal dumping, roadside drainage, road patching and repairs, and other work you can see, actually, that's on the screen right now. We got it up and running now. Public Works is a department that's very visible in Iberia Parish, and we have a lot that we get done through the Public Works Department, and we have a lot left to be done. The project update for Vita Shaw construction has started to take place. The project is scheduled to be completed in 150 calendar days, which is late November. So we're moving forward with that. It's a big deal for the people in that particular area. That bridge been messed up for quite some time. If I can, where's Brian? Brian, I want to tell you, happy birthday, man. I told you on Sunday when we talked, you shouldn't have told me that, man. Calling me on a Sunday, you talking, putting me to work, I'm gonna make you, get you a little bit embarrassed right here, man. Congratulations, we appreciate everything that you do in Iberia. Don't want to say that, he's older than me, so we'll leave that alone.
I don't know.
But no, I checked.
So I just want to say that my family, my wife, and my kids and all said, well, Dad, look, we're going to let's get together, we're going to eat, bring the grandkids over. And all. I said, well, can't do it Wednesday. because it's very important that I'm here doing the people's work. We'll do that
Maybe you should've
Saturday.
gone, huh?
So I'm here representing all you people.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Richard.
Thank you, Brian, for everything you do. I wish
Thank-
we had. I wish I knew when more councilman's birthday was.
I like to know when. How you got that
tell
picture
you.
though?
I can't tell you. Look at the shirt.
LSU,
Okay,
yeah.
but I can't tell you how I got the picture. Another
Thank
thing
you.
I want to pass on is we have Lee Turner from Senator Cassidy's office is in the audience right here. Lee, would you stand up and be recognized? This is Lee Turner. She works for Senator Cassidy. She's all over the place. Senator Cassidy, we work extremely close together. He do a lot of things for Iberia Parish. In fact, he's going to be here on the 18th. We have a celebration that we're doing for the Acadiana Regional Airport. We got $2 million. You might remember when Eugene was here working with Delta Regional. So we got $2 million for the airport for a hangar there. So Senator Cassidy is actually going to be here. And these are federal dollars that Senator Cassidy plays a major part with what we're doing in Iberia Parish. Just want to remind the people of Iberia Parish, if you're getting roof permits, if you're getting your roof, you need to get your permit for your roofing for your house. Licensed and insured contractors are required, and this is going to ensure the resilient roof that's being installed correctly, to make sure that your roofs are being installed correctly so it can withstand the hurricane force winds that we have and keep you safe in your house. So I see Jacob is up here. It's important that people get permits for your roofs that you're putting on your houses. Very, very important. We're trying to stay in compliance with what we're doing with FEMA and the federal government, so let's stay in compliance. The last thing I'm going to talk about, Mr. Chairman, is remember to visit the Iberia Parish Government website. If any of you have anything, and I say this at every meeting, if anything you want to add to that particular website, just let us know. Mars, this thing you just mentioned about the Parks and Recs, that's actually on the website. We doing very, very good in keeping up and keeping everything tight, nice and tight with the website with things that's happening in Iberia Parish. Mr. Chairman, that's it. We have a big meeting. I'm gonna stop. Any questions for me? Let me know.
Any questions for the parish president? Seeing none, I need a motion to go into public comments. I have a motion from Scott Ronsonet, a second from Marcus Broussard. Vote your machines, please. All right, we are now in the public comments. Item number 1, Madam Clerk.
Comments from the general public on agenda items.
Okay, we have some. I was gonna say, we have quite a bit tonight, so there will be a time on the screen to kind of let you know where you're at. The rule's normally 3 minutes. If you have to go a little bit over, fine, but try to keep it, because I think there's 15 or 16 here. So just try to keep to your key points if you don't mind, please, because we want to hear what you have to say. But I know it's important, but if y'all can just kind of keep the key points, we'd appreciate it. So first up we have is Ms. Carol Fishburne. Can you step up to the mic, please? Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Carol Fishburne, 514 Lucerne.
Okay.
And I'm here to speak with respect to item, I think it's 127. I would ask that you consider a moratorium on your decision for the solar installation, putting that off for another year. But I would also ask that you consider all the negative things about what that can do to not only my neighborhood and other neighborhoods represented here, but to the parish in general. If it's permitted one place, it can be permitted in many other places within the parish. And I don't know why we would want to do that to any area in our beautiful parish, to put an installation like that. My husband and I moved here in 2004 from South Florida. He had worked for an oil service business in Broussard, privately owned, and operated their flight department. He was chief pilot. Had worked for them in the 70s through the mid-80s, and you all know what happened in the 80s. The oil service business went down the tank. So you can't operate jet planes and other type of aircraft during that kind of period. And that flight department, he was the last person out of the hangar at ARA. So it was closed down, and he moved to Indianapolis and went to work as the chief pilot for the company that I worked with, a public company. And we ultimately were hired to go to Naples, Florida, so we were there from 92 to 2004. The family here reached out to us. They wanted to reopen the flight department and wanted him to come back and operate it. And they made us an offer we couldn't refuse. So I left beautiful Naples to come up here, and I must tell you, it was a culture shock. Living in Naples is like being in Disney World. You don't find even a leaf on the ground. It's pristine. So I have to tell you, the first time I drove from the rental apartment we had in Lafayette to ARA, I got past Broussard, and I started to cry. I was so distressed at the way everything looked and all the trash everywhere, and I didn't understand all that. But anyway, I made it down to the airport and to his hangar and his offices. And the next couple of times I came, I didn't cry after that. Anyway, we didn't know where we wanted to live. We ended up finding a house to rent in Squirrel Run, which we wanted to buy. And then Katrina came. We had to evacuate the aircraft and the family, the owner's family, myself and two little Yorkies, to Houston. We came back after the storm, and the people that owned the home, which we had asked to buy, unceremoniously removed us from the house. Not removed us, but terminated our lease, so we had to find a place to live. And we couldn't find anything because so many people were coming from New Orleans to buy homes. So we took a drive one day, kind of out in the boonies, and we see a for sale sign across the bayou and see a for sale sign at the end of the street. And we thought, well, this might be too big a neighborhood for us financially. But we went to look anyway. Found this beautiful house for sale. We were able to purchase it, 514 Lucerne. I loved that house. In 2010, it was struck by lightning and burned to the ground. We lost everything. Didn't know what we wanted to do. Beautiful piece of property, as all of our properties are out there, mostly an acre. Nice homes, beautiful trees. We decided to rebuild, so we rebuilt our house because we loved the neighborhood so much. The peace, the quiet, the neighbors, just the whole area. It's just a gorgeous area to live in. My husband passed away 2.5 years ago. I am trying to age in place. There is nowhere in the community for people like myself who, though elderly, don't need to be in a nursing home. I'm not ready for that yet. So I'm trying to stay in my home, which I love, and my neighborhood, which I love. A solar installation that I could look at from my front door would just completely ruin my life, my lifestyle, just everything. The property values would go down. I don't have a recourse because there really is nowhere for me to buy property around here where I can have a small little house, a 0 lot line, that kind of thing. I want to stay in my house. I want to be at peace. I'd like to continue to age in place there. This would be so disruptive for my quality of life and all the surrounding neighbors' quality of life. So I would ask your consideration to vote no for any kind of a solar installation in our area. I don't know if any of you live anywhere near our area. We're talking across the road from me, 800 acres. I don't know if any of you live in that area. If you don't, you should take a drive out there and look at it. By the way, do take a drive on Despot Road before Troy Road intersection over to the bridge across Bayou Teche. It's in terrible condition. That's what we have to put up with now. So you let people come in and try to build over there, we're not going to have a road anymore. We barely have one now. It's patch after patch after patch. So anyway, I'm rambling on. I'm sorry I've taken more than my extra time, but I appreciate your thoughtful consideration
Thank you,
on
Ms.
this.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Carroll. Right, next up, we have Ms. Brenda Smith. Can you step up to the mic, please?
Hi. I'm Brenda Smith, and I live at 703 Interlaken Drive, and I've lived there for the last 43 years. Anybody in here lived out there longer? That's true, that's true. So I've been there a long time. My late husband and I had lived in North Carolina for a little while when we were newlyweds, and we fell in love with the scenery up there. We fell in love with the trees and how beautiful it was. And when we came home, most of the subdivisions were former sugarcane land, and there were no trees. And one day, a friend of his that had built in Interlaken had told Dean that we should come out and visit them, and we did. And we fell in love with the area because of the nature, the trees. We cleared our own lot, and it was just beautiful. It was quiet. The neighbors that were there looked out for one another. We knew our kids could ramble, but there was a neighbor that was going to be watching them. Everybody watched out for everybody's kids. There were bunnies out there. There were all the squirrels, the wildlife. It was pastoral. It was beautiful out there. And so we chose to build our home out there. And I love my neighborhood. And that's why I'm here. This is not my comfort zone. I have been a teacher for more than 28 years, but I'm used to speaking to middle school and high school students. Adults freak me out. So if y'all could just bear with me a little bit. And well, I'm already late. I'm going to read. I gave y'all a letter. I apologize. I was supposed to send this to y'all, but my computer was glitching, which is what my kids have told me a lot at school. All right. I'm going to read the rest of it so I can move on. This area, Interlaken and the surrounding area, is where I've raised my 3 children, and now my grandchildren enjoy coming to Nana's house. There are many families with children living in our neighborhood, and I feel that they must be safeguarded against the intrusion of outside solar companies corrupting the land and taking over our peace of mind, because we know where we are now, that our families live in a safe environment, and our families are what matter the most to us. I know that you are well aware of the dangers and negative effects of solar farms, as many members of our community have made this information available to the council. I am speaking directly to the protection of Interlaken subdivision and other residential neighborhoods in our area. To allow the surrounding of our neighborhood on 3 sides with a solar industrial facility is an insult to our community that supports this parish. It would place our community in danger of noise, soil, water, and air pollution, considering the dangerous components in the panels themselves. During storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, which we've had around here, these panels could become flying projectiles, endangering property and endangering life. Then there are also the issues of reduction of property values, fire suppression in the panels and batteries, which could catch fire, water drainage issues, and maintenance of these solar facilities. Personally, if someone wants to have a few panels on their property for personal use, I believe that's their business. A neighbor has a few panels for their use in their backyard. I don't find them personally aesthetically pleasing, but I'm sure also they could find things in my yard that aren't aesthetically pleasing. But I have the option of planting trees or building a fence. I have not done that and don't choose to do that. I like my neighbors and I respect their right to have them. However, when we're talking about a solar industrial site surrounding our subdivision, that's another matter. For the health, safety, and well-being of our families who live here in Interlake and in the surrounding areas, these facilities should not be within several miles of a populated area. I know that there are people that don't want them in Iberia Parish at all. At all. I'm fighting for our community, for our subdivision, and our neighbors right now. I know that the council is planning on voting on extending the moratorium at this meeting. I urge you, for the good of the families of Iberia Parish, to extend this moratorium for as long as possible. As you consider putting ordinances in place regarding solar in Iberia Parish, please consider that these facilities have no business being within miles of established communities. There are just too many variables. The health, safety, and well-being of families must come first in Iberia Parish, and I am trusting this council to take care of all of us, the residents of Iberia Parish. Thank you for your attention. Sorry with my shaky voice, but
Thank you.
good luck to us all.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. All right, next up, we have Mr. Richard Phillips. Step up to the mic, please, sir. And get your name and address for the record, sir.
Richard Phillips, 420 East Main, nowhere near where you are talking about. I'm not here to talk about the specifics of the right or the wrong, the beauty or anything. I used to issue building permits in another parish, and I faced this issue over and over again. Neighbors do not like neighbors. They don't like what they do. My job was to enforce ordinances and laws. I had no ability to override. It's a legal issue. I was not in this parish when the original moratorium, as far as I know. And why you're extending it rather than making an ordinance or a resolution, again, I don't care about the mechanics. What I really care about is that people have property rights. The Constitution gives us property rights. And if somebody is within the rules, the laws on the books, I did not have the ability to override what was decided by municipal people like yourself. So to me, I don't know what the specifics are. Thank heaven Corey put a article online, otherwise I wouldn't even know what was going to happen. That's what the Daily Iberian's for, is to keep us informed. But maybe I'm a libertarian, and I believe in property rights, that the people who buy property, and if it's zoned properly, and if the neighbors don't like it, they chose to live there. And I know this is a very emotional issue on both sides. I happen to love pretty things, forests, trees, but I don't know what this issue is really all about. I don't know if somebody is asking for an exception to the rules, and if that's the case, normally the neighborhood norm prevails, and the whole situation goes away. But if that isn't the case, if this is zoned such this is a permitted use, me as a building official, like we have here from the parish, it isn't our option to tell people what to do if they have a constitutional right to enjoy their property. And that's all I really have to say. I'm not taking anybody's side. I'm looking at the bigger picture. What is going on here? And I don't know. I'm not sticking around to find out either.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Brown's in attendance. All right, next is Ms. Kim Spiker. Step up to the mic, please.
Who's coming?
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Kim Spiker, and I have been a resident of Interlake Drive for 32 years, and I was born and raised in Iberia Parish. I am here to strongly encourage this council to vote yes to extending the moratorium on the solar panel complex that wants to be put next to our subdivision. I also strongly encourage this council to begin working on laws and regulations that will keep these solar panel complexes from impeding on residential and farmland, which Mr. Phillips talked about is not zoned for industrial. It's a zone for agricultural. It will need to be rezoned. They should be required to be in industrial zoned areas only, if at all. These are not farms. They are industrial complexes and need to be in those zoned areas only. Iberia Parish must begin there with laws and regulations, because right now we have zero laws and regulations concerning solar panel complexes. We have none. I emailed each of you last week. I got 3 responses. I could go on and give you a list of everything that everybody else is going to give you. You can read it for yourself. I had 3 people respond to my email. I did have one that came back and I resubmitted. I hope more than just the 3 people who responded actually read the emails from the voters here. Please, please vote yes to extend the moratorium on this solar panel complex, at least for a year till we can get some laws written. And I'm curious to see how many people here are opposed to extending this moratorium. I'm really, really curious. Thank you.
Ms. Spiker. Ms. Spiker. Can you step back, please? I'm sorry, I forgot to have you state your name and address for the record. Can you
Kim
state it?
Spiker, 502 Interlake Drive.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, next we have Ms. Katherine DeGro. Can you step up to the mic, please?
Good evening. Hi, I'm Katherine Jro. I live at 307 Lucerne Drive. I'm going to kind of piggyback on what she said, but I'm reading this because I'm keeping it to 3 minutes. Y'all are going to be proud. Destroying green to go green. It's been claimed that if all of the proposed industrial utility-scale solar projects in Louisiana were developed, they would only take up 49,000 acres of land that are zoned for agricultural use. Industrial solar projects should not be granted use of even 1 acre of Louisiana's agricultural land, and we in Iberia Parish must not make the mistakes that many other Louisiana parishes have. Utility-scale solar farms are not farms. They are industrial projects that convert large tracts of farmland and/or forests into rows of glass panels, modules containing highly toxic and carcinogenic substances. A solar farm is an industrial site that has nothing to do with farming or forestry or any other activities related to agriculture. A solar farm is an industrial activity where productive farmland, usually high-grade farm acreage, because they go after 1, 2, and 3 grades, is converted into an electric power generation station. The term solar farm is purposely misleading. Solar companies have found it cost-efficient to lease farmland in rural areas on which to erect their solar generation panels because farmland is first, of course, it's already cleared. 2, it's already exposed to direct sunlight. And 3, it's close to roads. And if they can get it close to an electric substation, that's even better for them. For all intents and purposes, a solar farm is an industrial enterprise that is wholly unrelated and not supportive of any farm use. In fact, the construction of a solar power generation site on land previously dedicated to farming is actually destructive of the underlying farm acreage because the site is typically cleared of much of its rich topsoil, mixed with fine sand, compacted, and chemically treated to control plant growth. The fact that the modules can leach toxic materials only serves to contaminate the land further. Once this occurs, you can never get that land back. Solar farms pose a direct threat to the agricultural, forestry, scenic beauty, unspoiled natural resources, and water systems that not only attract residents and visitors to the region, but provide jobs for residents and tax revenue for local government. The production of solar power as one means of helping to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels was never intended to be a license for the solar industry to destroy productive farmland, forests, wetlands, unspoiled natural resources that are the cornerstone of most rural communities. Furthermore, to allow the 1,000-acre utility-scale industrial solar project to operate on the proposed plot of agricultural land that is surrounded by several residential neighborhoods would be a violation of our civil rights. As neighboring property owners, it would threaten our environment as well as our health, safety, and welfare. We're not asking for any special favors or treatment. We're only asking you to fulfill your obligation as parish council members to your constituents and protect our beautiful and unique Iberia Parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeGro. Thank you.
I'd like to extend an invitation to all of you because I know that some of y'all have visited the UL Farm and I guess research, whatever, and I know he has offered for y'all to go back. I would like to invite y'all to our yards. Front yards, backyards. It'll be called the Tour of Yards. I'll set it up. Y'all want to come. Y'all can see what we would be looking at and what we would be dealing with. I think it's in the interest of fairness. I'm just putting that out there. Thank you for your time.
All right, next we have Miss Christa Bernard. Can you step up to the mic, please? Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Christa Bernard. I used to live at 1105 Troy Road. Sold that house, but I do own a house on 1900 Daspit Road. But I'm not even living in that house. I'm moving to Jeanerette, building a house there. But I am here to speak about the solar farms and an aspect that no one else here has spoken about. I'm here to speak about the heritage that will be lost if these solar farms come out. Because the Acadians came here over 300 years ago, and their unknown grave sites are in this area that the proposed solar farms are going to be at. There are so many Native American aspects of this property also. I put some pictures on your desk for y'all to look at. There's a giant patch of river cane that is used by the Chitimacha tribe for generations and generations to make their unique basketry. That will be lost. We are losing so much. And if this solar farm is inevitable and it's going to come, let's put a law in place that they have to have a survey done of the entirety of the area, an archaeological survey done by a Louisiana-based company, someone who knows the local history, who has a stake in it, not someone from outside of this state who doesn't know the people, doesn't know the history, and doesn't know the culture. Because we need to save that culture. We are Cajuns and we are proud of it. And Cajuns started right here in Iberia Parish, and we're about to wipe it out. So let's really think about that and put a moratorium longer on them till they can have a purposely done archaeological survey to prove that those grave sites are not there. The Interlaken section alone is on a historic plantation. That is a known historic plantation. The one on Troy Road is next to a historic site called Bayou La Chute. In the 1700s, it is noted and documented in multiple records, land records, that it was the site of a 10-foot waterfall. Can you believe a waterfall in Louisiana? It's absolutely crazy. But that just shows that so many things with erosion and different things that are happening with the community, things are being wiped out. So let's make sure that this does not get wiped out and the residents know what we're losing. So please put in there that they need to have a comprehensive survey done of this area before this is even passed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, next we have Mr. David DeGro. Can you step up to the mic, please? Can you state your name and address for the record, please, sir?
Okay, let me put my glasses up, getting old. My name's David DeGro Jr. I live on 307 Lucerne Drive in New Iberia. I sent all y'all a letter this week or last week. I'm just going to read it out loud for the record. I was born and raised here in New Iberia, and although I did attend college in another state, I chose to return to Iberia Parish to live and raise my family. In my 60 years as a resident here, I have always been proud of our unique culture and the very landscape of our parish. My family believes in God, family, and community in that order. When my wife and I purchased our home on Lucerne Drive almost 30 years ago, there was a sugarcane field that met up with our backyard. It's still there, and it is the same 800 acres now being considered for lease to an industrial solar project company. I can guarantee you that we never would have purchased this house if it was next to 800 acres zoned as industrial. My wife and I worked very hard and spent our money making improvements to our home. Any homeowner can tell you that there's always something that needs fixing or updating, and we have done some of the work ourselves when possible. It is endless, but it's been a labor of love. We raised our children here, and it's where we plan to spend the rest of our lives. We enjoy the simple things in life, like sitting in our backyard at the end of the day, working in a vegetable garden or doing yard work. We host family functions and often hold them outside. We never could have imagined that our very way of life would be threatened because of the wishes of a few families, that years of hard work would be for nothing and things could change so drastically. After meeting with our neighbors, we find that we have a lot in common. They never dreamed that the rules could be changed in the middle of the game and that we could be forced to live next to an industrial solar project. How can a few families, the landowners of the 800 and 200 acres, be allowed to jeopardize the lives of so many other families? Why should a few families be able to cause harm to other families all because they can make more money? As private property owners, don't our rights matter? We are hardworking taxpayers that spend our money locally and give back to our community in any way we can. Why should a foreign solar company be able to come in and disrupt so many lives, threaten our health, put us in danger of fire, of land, water contamination, and noise pollution? Please do your research and look at what these industrial solar projects have done to communities all over our country. Once they are allowed in, they do not follow regulations or ordinances. They prefer to do what they want and pay the fines or whatever it is ordered in a lawsuit. It's a drop in the bucket to them, if it costs them millions of dollars. They are given tax incentives, but none of it stays in our parish. The landowner is the only one that will profit, while everyone else's lives, the citizens of Iberia Parish, are changed forever. So many of our friends have moved away from New Iberia and now live in Broussard, Youngsville, and Lafayette. Please don't punish the ones that chose to stay. Put the wishes of the vast majority of your constituents above the couple of families that will profit from foreign investors. Remember that the unknown solar companies have never and will never call Iberia Parish home. I hope you will vote no to any industrial solar projects in Iberia Parish, but I'll take the extension of the moratorium. And I've also did a link to St. James Parish, and I don't know if y'all read it, but they already have solar there, and they just turned down a 2,200 acre solar farm because from what I'm reading, they're not abiding by the rules. Thank you for your time, and thanks for everybody for coming tonight.
All right, next we have up Mr. Brent Reid. Step up to the mic, please, sir. State your name and address for the record, please.
Brent Reid, 3506 Daspit Road. Once again, thank you guys for all the hard work, and thank you guys for having us all speak and just taking the time to just listen. I just want to say that obviously I am in support of the extension of the moratorium, and the reason being is it allows us all to step back and just take a breath, because where we were going, it was like the snowball just continuing faster and faster. We were getting to the deadline to where we were going to have to implement some sort of ordinances, or it was going to be like the Wild Wild West out here, right? I think that I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I'm used to having something in front of me. I think what it does is it allows us to educate ourselves for this next 6 months or a year, whatever it is that you guys extended for, and actually take the time and write the ordinances the way that they should be. Because right now, I've read the draft, and they're verbatim Acadia Parish, right? They have nothing protecting the landowners. They have nothing protecting anything. They're just basic generic ordinances the way that they sit today. So allowing us to take a step back, educate ourselves, the public to educate theirself a little more, help the council educate theirself, and actually give you guys time to step back and not feel like you're on such a time clock having to educate yourself and just make a rash decision, right? Two things I will say. Where would I turn if I'm looking for solar information? The panels or the installation or the ground, the impact to the ground environment. I would look, number one, to the Department of Energy, US-based website. And I would also look to the EPA. Both of these websites have a whole lot of information on the materials that are used during the manufacturing. And even our own EPA says that these chemicals or these materials are toxic and carcinogens, right? I've said that in the past in many of my other speeches. But who I would not listen to, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't listen to the solar companies. I know they're in this room, but that's like the fox guarding the hen house, right? If it was me looking to make 10, 15, $20 million, I would be saying whatever I had to say to get the approval as well. And I would also not listen to the media, because the media has a tendency to kind of skew things. And I'll tell you how. There was an interview done with a UL student, and his words verbatim was, "It's a little bit of magic in between two glass panels," right? Now, if you don't know anything about solar panels, you would think, oh, those things are great. It's magic, right? But our own government, the EPA, is calling them carcinogens. It ain't magic. It's carcinogens. So I would urge you to look at those two websites to start and then go from there. So thank you all very much.
All right, thank you. All right, next up, we have Mr. Ricky Gonsalas. Step up to the mic, sir. State your name and address for the record, please.
Ricky Gonsalas, 407 Terrell Court, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of New Iberia and former parish councilman for 8 years. And thank y'all for having me. And I'm going to try to hold my comments short because I think there's more people that deserve the time, and I want to yield my time to people that have a passion for this project. But listen, I've been in your seats before on controversial issues, high-pressure issues, and I've always thought about it and said, what is the most effect I can have for the common good of the constituents or the parish? Ladies and gentlemen, it's obvious. Just look around the room. I haven't seen, and I've been to 4 or 5 minutes, one person in support, but I've seen multiple people that don't want it and don't want rules to be engaged in it. So that should be a very easy decision. So just a simple analogy. You know, if you go to a baseball game and there's no rules and regulations, either team's gonna have a fair chance? No. What about if you go to a casino and there's no rules? Think you have a fair chance of winning money? No. So you guys not extending a moratorium with no rules at play or putting these families and these residents at jeopardy with no rules, and they have no way to defend themselves. So as a conservative Republican, and I wanted to echo Mr. Phillips' comments because he said libertarian, but as a conservative Republican, I like to play by the rules, and I want to see rules in front of me. So if that's the option, let's extend this moratorium, give these people some rules, or you know what? The best vote ever is to ban solar farms from Iberia Parish for good.
All right. Next up, we have Mr. Steve Tebow. Step up to the mic, sir.
Way better than I can.
Thank you, Mr. Tebow. All right, next we have Ms. Virginia Segura. Step up to the mic, please.
I'm good.
Next we have Ms. Donna Morrell. Can you step up to the mic, please? You give your name and address for the record, please.
Donna Morrell, 403 Candigo Drive. I want to say that I am for extending the moratorium for all the reasons, the wonderful, good reasons you've heard, and I'm not for a solar farm in Iberia Parish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Todd Saguru. You step up to the mic, please, sir.
Can I get 6 minutes, please?
State your name and address for the record, sir.
Todd Sagura, 205 Edgewater Drive. You know, I'm for the moratorium. I'm against the solar hazard. I think we ought to consider, I mean, we had a council person when we got started talked about a flag football league. You know, maybe it would be nice to keep some of our folks here and not to go to Broussard and Youngsville. I had my brother-in-law speak a little bit about folks moving to Broussard and Youngsville. Why don't Iberia Parish be first in something sometimes? Like, not accept this stuff. You know, I know what he's talking about, St. James. My office is in New Orleans. I live here in Iberia Parish. I live in New Iberia. I'm familiar with St. James because we do work in St. James. It's a sad situation when these people pray on these small, poor parishes. Let's not be them, right? Let's not be that. Why don't we consider some of the stuff that Youngsville and Broussard's doing so our kids don't move? I'm not going to move. I'm going to be here for a little bit. I'm not going to be happy if we do a solar farm. But let's be first in something for a change. So our name's in the paper all over the parish and maybe in the state that we chose not to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next up, we have Ms. Len Sha Pine. You step up to the mic.
Oh, Linnell?
Len, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Len Sha Pine. I live in New Iberia, 104 Eileen Street. I'm right off of Main Street. No, I do not live on Lucerne or Daspert or whatever. I am so opposed to it, and for so many reasons, but the number one reason people need to understand is, as a real estate agent, you do not get the data we get. When you talk about property value going down, one house, $25,000 down immediately the day the solar farms go up. So you want to increase the value of your property or decrease the value of your property? And if you want more information, we can share that with you. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Ms. Rebecca McGee. Step up to the mic, please. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Rebecca McGee, 5016 Lorville Road. So I'm going to keep mine short and sweet because everyone else has said so many wonderful things. But I'm going to talk about what I know, and that's real estate. I'm the broker and co-owner of McGee Scott Realty. And we have been working so hard to keep people in Iberia Parish. We don't want to keep selling Youngsville and Broussard and Lafayette. We want people to stay in a parish that we love. And I know, like Ms. Linnell said, if those solar fields go up, these industrial facilities go up next to residential areas, it will affect those values. And not only the values of the people on Lucerne Drive and Daspit, but the values of all of our properties throughout the whole parish will be affected by this. So I urge you to please do what you think is best for our parish and extend this moratorium and create some rules and guidelines. That's why we have zoning in our parish, is to protect our values. Don't listen to the word solar farm. It's not a farm. It's industrial. Do what you need to do and don't allow this in our parish. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Ms. Susan McFarland. You step up to the mic, please. Can you state your name and name and address for the record, please?
Susan McFarland, 599 Emmeline. I'm here in support of all of these people who are living right next to this industrial complex that's going up. It is not something that we ever thought we'd have to think about because we know progress happens, but this is not progress for us. We like our rural communities. We like how our lifestyle. If we wanted progress, we would move someplace forward, someplace else. Not here in Iberia. We want some progress, but not industrial solar projects. That is unacceptable. I passed by one in Plaisance. It was horrible. Horrible. Miles and miles and miles. Overgrown property, a bus in the middle of one of them. It's not something I would want to live by. And I don't have to live by one because I don't have sugarcane fields around my house. But I feel for my fellow Iberia Parish residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Joshua Trosclair. Step up to the mic, please. Can you say your name and address for the record, please, sir?
Hi there, Joshua Trosclair. I live over on 4010 Earliest Ronsonate Road, over in Lydia. So, not the property currently being talked about, nevertheless. Okay, so my name is Joshua Trosclair. I work for a bunch of different groups, mostly involved in the environment. I'm a proud member of the Louisiana Against False Solutions Coalition. I'm also a proud member of the United Home and Nation. And I just want to say that if the council needs any of the data or anything about this stuff, feel free to come to me. I can hook you up with pretty much any expert you need. I can't guarantee that they won't take a little time, but the experts are out there. There are coalitions out there who are guiding this. And I would just like to say, if this were about a LNG pipeline, or if this were about a CCS carbon capture facility, both of which are false solutions that won't have any help on anyone inside of the parish. I've spent a lot of time and energy fighting these. Recently, I don't know if you guys know this or not, there was a pipeline that was proposed in Franklin. I was gearing up to fight that. Thankfully, they decided to pass on it, but it was going to go right next to my grandma's house. These are real problems that endanger real people. And I'm sorry to say, but the solar farms are not that. The solar farms, I understand if you have an aesthetic issue with it, which many people have copped to. I understand if you have property rights issues with that. I used to work for the Property Rights and Pipeline Center, and that was all we did. But at the end of the day, you're not entitled to what you can see, directly outside. You're entitled to what you bought with your money. You're not entitled to be able to decide for everyone else, including a parish, which I will point out, a lot of people who have come to spoke here decide that they want to be the God Kings who decide what happens in the entire parish. If it were just about a moratorium, if it were just about pressing pause, I would have no, I'd be fine with it. I agree, we need rules and regulations. We absolutely do. If you guys need to take a little bit more time, do that. But they're gearing up to just try and get an outright ban. Like, they've said it themselves, they're very open about it. And I just frankly don't understand why they get to decide for me what's going on in my community, why you guys can't open it to others. Some of them, if you talk to them, they say, oh, we don't want it because our neighborhoods are nicer, our property values are this. As we got up here, some realtors spoke. That's fun and all. My house ain't valued for that. I have 3 cane fields as well over my yard. Y'all want to come in and put a solar farm there? I'll champion it. We'll try and figure it out. The entire parish needs to boycott it. This entire parish needs to ban it. It doesn't make any sense. It's not democratic. It shouldn't be decided here, and I know it won't be. That's not what the council is voting on. But it's clearly like gearing up to where that's kind of where we're going, and that's messed up. We've had certain candidates who have gotten here and used the podium to talk about things. Yeah, the sugarcane brings money, and also I will agree. Well, hold on. Everyone else had a chance to speak.
He didn't say nothing when everybody else
Yeah.
spoke. Let him
Finish your speech, sir.
Yeah, please. I'm the one guy that said anything that's anti that. So you guys said like an hour. Can I please have my 3 minutes and maybe a little change? So part of what I wanted to bring up was something that really stuck out to me that was personally offensive. Was that somebody tried to use Native American rights and burial grounds for that. I agree with that. I agree that there should be studies. However, I would point out, if it's been used for sugarcane, you've already desecrated the bones of my ancestors. The solar panel is not going to make them more desecrated. And I would kindly ask that if someone is not a citizen of a tribe or affiliation, you not put our name in your mouth. Thank you. And furthermore, the same thing happening when it comes to historical preservation of enslaved peoples and what have you in plantations. If anyone wants to use that, I welcome them to contact me. I can get a hold of you with Joy Banner with the Descendants Project, and we can talk about redistributing that to the people who had to work those lands. But I don't think that's really what you're arguing about now, is it? My point being is that I do understand the need for a moratorium. I'm not strictly fighting that, but I am just pointing out that this is a stalking horse for trying to ban solar in general, and I would be highly interested on who has interest in money and gas, who has interest in the way that things have always been inside of this parish. And I would point out that whenever Hurricane Rita came through, it destroyed my elementary school, and part of the reason why we couldn't rebuild back on that land was because of the massive amount of chemical flow over from the port into Peebles Elementary. I didn't see anyone there whenever it was about a poor kid's school being messed up by chemicals. But now suddenly that it's one of the richer, better off part of towns, and we're talking about property values, suddenly we have a giant outpouring of support. So, just saying that. Thank you all. Have a good day. Again, if you need any experts or anything, reach out to me. It might take a little time, but I'm willing to work with the council so we can come to just a normal, sane solution that uses science and not fear-mongering. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next we have Mr. Mark Reese. Step up to the mic, sir. Hey. Keep order, please. Mr. Mark, can you state your name and address for the record, sir?
Mark Reese, 119 Amaryllis Drive. I'm not a resident of Iberia Parish. I'm an archaeologist and a professor of anthropology at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. I appreciate the chance to be able to speak today. While I'm not a resident of the parish, I've spent a lot of time around Laurelville. I may have met a few of you. I thought I saw a few familiar faces. About 10 years ago, we started looking for the home sites and grave sites of the Acadians. This area, northeast of New Iberia here, known 200 years ago as the Cul-de-sac de la Fosse Point, is a historic landscape. It's not just a historic landscape with the sites of Acadians, it's a historic landscape with the home sites and potentially burials, I have no doubt, of Chitimacha ancestors going back at least 2,000 years, as well as Christa had mentioned, plantations. And so really I'm here to support what Christa said, and my main point here is that if there is going to be development of this land, we should know, I think we would all want to know, what's going to be lost by the development. And I would add that these sites are occasionally lost when there's development without a full and comprehensive archaeological survey. And so that's my main point, and that is there should be a survey of the entire area that's going to be developed. I believe it's something like 1,000 acres before a development occurs, so that we have an informed decision, so that we have a possibility of an informed decision. What's there? What are the sites there? I guess I'm willing to answer any questions, but that's basically what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Mr. Sam Huey. I'm saying it right, Huey?
He had to leave.
Had to leave, okay. All right, now we move on to public comments number 2. Madam Clerk, please.
Persons being considered for appointment to parish boards, commissions to address the council.
And I don't think we have any at this moment. So now I need a motion to go back into regular session. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard and a second by Mr. Michael Landry. Can you vote your machines, please? Okay, we are now back into regular session. Community service events and public service announcements, there is none. Reports, finance, and administrative actions. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
Balance sheets for May 2024 on request.
Okay, those should have been emailed to you. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Year-to-date budget reports, budget versus actual for May 2024 on request.
Okay, those should have been emailed also. Next, we have reports, parish or other governmental agencies. Number 1.
Monthly permit report for the month of June 2024.
Those should have been emailed also. Next, we have public works reports. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated June 12th through June 25th, 2024.
Those also should have been emailed to you. Next, we have special business. There is none. Next is consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. We have the minutes, regular meeting of June 26, 2024. Summary number 124, introduced by Clerk of the Council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution of condolences to the family of Miss April Connolly Rawlins, sister of Iberia Parish and Recreation Commissioner, Mr. Benny Roy, who passed away on April 24th, 2024.
Right, we have summary number 125, introduced by Parish President.
A resolution amending the 2024 General Fund and Criminal Justice Facility Fund budgets in the amount of $899,228 and $1,661,428 respectively to appropriate additional project funding for jail improvement, roof replacement, all to be funded from ARPA loss revenue funds, $899,228, and the FPNC state revenues of $802,200.
Okay, at this time, would anyone like to pull any consent agenda items? Hearing, seeing none, can we vote on our consent agenda items?
We have a motion.
Need a motion and a second, please.
We have.
I have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Michael Landry. Please vote your machines on consent agenda items. That carries. Next, we have ordinances introduced for public hearing and adoption. There is none. Resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 126, introduced by Clerk of the Council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending resolution number 2024-23 and extending the temporary moratorium on the development, establishment, and/or construction of solar farms in unincorporated areas.
She can go back.
126.
She can go back. She can go back.
She can go back.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Sorry.
She can go back.
A resolution acknowledging the appointment of one member to the Iberia Parish Tourist Commission, representing Iberia Preservation Alliance for the remainder of a 3-year term to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Mr. Jermaine Como,
Got Mr. up there.
whose term expires December 31st, 2024. Applications of interest on file Ms. Lisa Dewey Lord.
All right, I need a motion by Ms. Natalie Broussard, a second by Mr. Dustin Swear. Any, Ms. Broussard? Wave, okay. Mr. Swear? Wave, okay. Any discussion? No. Vote your machines, please. And congratulations, Ms. Lord, you are now on the Tourist Commission Board. All right, now, summary number 127, introduced by James P. Trunhall, District 8. Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending Resolution Number 2024-23 and extending the temporary moratorium on the development, establishment, and/or other constructions of solar farms in the unincorporated areas of Iberia Parish for an additional period of 1 year, specifically until August 26, 2025. Note, a motion to suspend the rules is needed as this item was not considered by the Joint Committee.
Okay, I need to make a note. We suspending the rules because it did not go to joint committee, and also last time it was in joint committee, according to our rules, it failed, so we need to bring it, we can't bring it through again, so we need to bring it to and suspend the rules for it. So can we vote on suspension of the rules? I have a motion by Mr. Brian Napier, second by Mr. Michael Landry. Wave, Mr. Napier, Mr. Michael? All right, Mr. Brown?
Wave.
Mr. Brown waves, okay. Any more discussion? None? Can we vote on suspension of the rules, please? And that passes, so now we will go to summary 127. Have a motion by Mr. Brian Napier, second by Lady Fontenette Brown. Mr. Napier?
Okay, so just a few comments.
This one.
Was that?
That suspension of the rule covered both, the not going to joint committee. and
Right, it's all on the one. I was just stating why. There was two different reasons why, but it was all on the one.
in one.
Yes, ma'am.
The mics? Okay. You good, Scott? Okay. So, first of all, to have so many people here tonight is good, whether you for it, against it, to see how your government works. I've been here, I'm on my 9th year with several other ones, and this is probably the biggest crowd, if not the second biggest, Natalie, since we've been here. So, however you feel, I'm glad to see people are engaged and letting us know how you feel, whether you're for it or against it. So, just to explain a little bit on how we got here, back toward the end of last year, I had put up a moratorium. And that was at the time when we were, the administration, and we were all negotiating with First Solar to bring that big economic engine to Iberia Parish. So, and it kind of was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do it while we negotiating, saying we don't want solar, but we want the plant, so we didn't do it at that time. But I brought it back in February. We voted on it for 6 months. We wanted to go a year then, but we had some discussions and the council agreed we do 6 months. So a month ago, we decided, with a lot of you coming to the meetings, emailing us, telling us how you feel, discussing with our legal team, that, hey, we need some time. If we're gonna do it, and a lot's been said tonight, if we're gonna do an ordinance, we as the council and administration, we want to do it right. We don't wanna rush and do something that we're gonna regret, no matter what we do. So for the people that are saying, and I've gotten emails as well as a lot of us, that it don't take that long. Well, the people that are saying that have no idea what we dealing with, what our Mr. Ian's dealing with, trying to put something together that's gonna be right for for the people that live in that in those areas, and the people that live all over the parish, because once this starts, I have no doubt that there's gonna be others. So if there is, we wanna make sure we have something right. So however long it takes, you know, personally, I was for the moratorium in the beginning. I'm for extending it that year here tonight to get more information, talk to everybody we can, whether we make an ordinance that satisfies what we're trying to do, or we ban it. We not sure where we're gonna go yet, but we gotta do our due diligence.
Right.
And so we want to do it right.
Right.
So that's where I'm at, and I hope my fellow council people here do the same, and we extend it. And look, keep coming, keep sending us emails. One thing I did want to say is that I saw, I think the same report one gentleman said on channel on KATC last night when Anna was interviewing the two guys at UL. One of the things he said, the young guy, the undergraduate, said, if you vote for the moratorium and are not for this, you are not for progress. Well, I like to throw something at my TV, because if you look at what we've done, this administration and council, since we've been here, it has been nothing but progress. Thank you. So to that young man, and to anybody else that thinks we not for progress, doesn't know anything about this council, this administration, and Iberia Parish. So I promise you, we're gonna do our due diligence. I don't care how long it takes, whatever it ends up, I really believe it's gonna be for the best interest of all you people there and everybody in Iberia Parish. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Next up is Lady Fontenette Brown.
Yes, I would like to say I share the same sentiments as my fellow councilman, Mr. Brian Napier, who's from Jeanerette as well. And I also want to say that I truly believe this council definitely puts the people before they put any business. So we share those same sentiments, and I yield back.
Thank you.
Next, I have Mr. Scott Russell.
I just wanted to touch on what Ms. Bernard and Mr. Reese talked about. As everybody,
Your mic's on.
yeah, let's get closer. I just wanted to touch on what Ms. Bernard and Mr. Reese talked about. Everybody should know, if not, we have a monument in Lowerville that's dedicated for the Acadiana, I guess the Acadia project started. Let me go there. And there's more to this than just the monument. They're studying all this land. They've done studies on Daspit. They've done studies on Lowerville Highway. And if we can get more of this, I guess, the burial grounds identified, what's going to happen is we could possibly go into, say, UNESCO, get some federal dollars, and then you start getting travelers coming in. They already do visit this monument, by the way. And if you can start getting more people coming in, and then, okay, we're going to go to the burial grounds, and then you start making this roadmap, and it's going to affect Jeanerette. It could possibly affect, and now I'm going to go further, it's going to affect Houma, it's going to affect New Orleans. And you start bringing in more money. So it's not just about this solar project. There is more to it than just the monument and the burial sites. And he is right. We need to do this right. We need to make sure we have a study done, especially on that land, because once you touch it, and it's not about the desecration, the other guy said. It's about, you might have to make another monument of some type as a visitation center. So once you put the solar on top of it, you have ruined the opportunity to possibly go down that road. So just keep that in mind when we vote. And I am for the moratorium because I'm gonna throw another name. Mr. Perrin called me yesterday, and I had a discussion with him. And I apologize. I completely forgot about it. My whole mind has been on the solar, and I'm glad he called. And he was just letting me know where we stand on the UNESCO side. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Ms. Natalie Broussard.
I don't know where Ms. Spiker ended up, but I did want to address you and let you know we have gotten a ton of emails. And I have tried to respond, at least say thank you received, but I ran out of time to respond. It doesn't mean that we're not reading them. I just want to assure everybody that we are reading them. Just because we're not necessarily responding to every one of them doesn't mean that we're not reading them. And I appreciate all the information. So keep providing all the information that you can. It is invaluable. I am for extending the moratorium. I'm going to disagree with Mr. Napier on a couple of issues that he brought up. I do believe we need to do this right, and I do believe we need to take our time doing it, but I do not believe we need to forget the fact that, look at all of you. Look at all you staring at us. This is affecting your lives. This is stressing y'all. The fact that the moratorium wasn't extended at the last time it came up, I cannot imagine the stress that caused y'all and what it put y'all through. And to have another year of unrest in your lives while we take our time to do an ordinance is doing an injustice to you. I think we need to be very diligent, take whatever time is needed, but I don't think we should waste any time. I think y'all deserve to know what your future holds and to get answers and to know and not be living in the stress. So I agree with you that we need to do it right, but I am asking that my council be diligent and be an engine pushing this to have resolution for all of these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Broussard. Next, we have Mr. Dustin Swear.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I want to thank everyone in the room for coming this evening. This really shows it. And look, in my 8 years of public service, this is probably the biggest I've seen on a level of controversy. And this is my first year here in this room. But I want to bring up an issue. I dealt with an issue back in 2008 when I was a new-time home buyer, young adult, starting a family, and neighboring home next door decided they wanted to start a business and it was going to cause chaos in the neighborhood. So we went to the planning and zoning meeting. We spoke just like you all did. And one individual on that board stated a term that kind of stood out to me, and it was called harmonious development. And tonight is a prime example. This is not in harmony with the area or the neighbors or the parish. So I wanted to bring that up, and that tonight, once again, even 15 years later, that same term still rings to me because this is not harmonious development. So again, that's all. I agree with all of you. I agree we need to extend this moratorium, but I also agree we need to really dig deep and get it done. That way we can, these people in this room and this parish can rest. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, with no further comments, and we vote our machines. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all time and y'all patience. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right. Now we'll go on to summary number 128, introduced by Iberia Parish Planning and Zoning. Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending the 2024 general fund budget in the amount of $142,317.
Okay, we're going. All right, we continue our meeting, please. Keep it down. Okay, Madam Clerk, continue.
A resolution amending 2024 general fund budget in the amount of $142,317 to appropriate additional expenditures for the permit department as follows. Number one, $38,586 partial year salary and benefits for an additional building inspector. Number two, $44,805 partial year subscription and expenditures for software contract. $52,397 contract amount less amount previously budgeted. Contractual expenditure includes $38,625 of implementation first year expenditure only. Number three, $10,000 vehicle repairs maintenance. Number four, $800 vehicles insurance, and $9,776 general liability insurance for inspectors. Number five, $10,000 travel and training for continuing education courses for inspectors. Number six, $350 for uniforms for the inspectors. And number seven, $37,000 for department truck purchases, all to be funded from building permit revenues.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Napier, a second by Marcus Broussard. Mr. Napier?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend the language. The correct amount is supposed to be $151,317. The council members voted to increase number three, $5,000 to $10,000 vehicle repairs maintenance. Number five, $6,000 to $10,000 travel and training, which increased the total amount of the amended to the 2024 general fund budget. 151,317.
Right. Okay, we're gonna go to Mr. Marcus Broussard, and we'll come to your amendment, sir. Mr. Marcus Broussard?
Yeah, I didn't know if Jacob wanted to get up here and kind of talk about, I know he's smiling because this means he's building a little team, right?
He talked to
Can you give us a couple, he did? I wasn't here last, I probably wasn't here. I wasn't here, so I'd like to hear about this, huh? If you could spend a couple of minutes telling us about
You state your name
how
and
you
title
getting
for
the
the record,
revenue
sir.
and all that. Yep.
Thank you, Jacob Weaver, Permits Planning and Zoning. Just want to say I appreciate the support as always. I tried to wait to the final minute to do something like this. You know, I mean, we really were a parish lighting on fire kind of in the past few years. You know, so we've been ramping up, and it's hard to keep a lid on it for nuisance, for plan reviews, for our contractors. You name it. So. I appreciate it, Janice. We have a little presentation, a little slideshow from the program, but this is trucks. This is another inspector. As you know, we have 2, 3, 4 big projects kicking off right now. I can only be in so many concrete inspections at 7 a.m. It's a facts. So the services are paid for by building department revenues. We're not trying to get more than we're really happy that there's profits there, but we're trying to use some of them and ensure quality. So some of the key points I try to bring to y'all is regulatory compliance with state laws. This is a big deal. Like I mean, what we do, we have to do it right. If we don't do it, I leave because I don't want to go to jail, so yeah, public safety, as you can see tonight, the rules and regulations that we enforce are for public safety, so efficiency for our contractors and for our own offices for reconciling this data to get to y'all, legal compliance, the DA's enforcement to all of these building regulations, licensing for our builders, licensing for our inspectors, you name it, community development, this is a big one. So, as these developers are coming here, we got to have boots on the ground. We have to have the capabilities to track it. We have to, and that is just, in any business, they have softwares, they have programs to help them run this stuff. And, it is at a time where, I've been in this for a long time. We got here, it was paper pencil. It works for a little while, but when we ramp up like we've been doing, I mean, it's like 100% increase year over year in residential. And now, I mean, the commercial's 1,000%. It's way off the charts now, So adequate resources empower municipal building departments to uphold safety, efficiency, legal standards, and community development, making them indispensable for ensuring livable and thriving communities. So that is what we do. So. Just a little thing on the program. OpenGov is the name of the company. They actually own Cartograph, which is our asset management program with Public Works. So we have some integration kind of coming up with that. Some of their different modules that they use, but we have asset management through Cartograph. The one I'm going for is permitting and licensing. It's a public portal. Streamlined reviews. We have a lot of stuff between the Department of Health, the Fire Marshal, you name it. It's really just like a plug and play, for these people to input their data and spits out a plan review and a permit for them at the end of the thing. So in-app collaboration, I mean, it is so awesome to be able to, y'all get questions, when was this approved, when was that? I mean, it is so like time-stamped, everything, Johnny on the spot with our inspections, the builders get a notice where they're at in the process, where it is, all this back and forth communication. It's really hard to do your job and just keeping people abreast when you got concrete hitting the ground and people trying to close trenches,
This is going to help because one of the complaints I get a lot is the consistency of the rules.
We're all human.
And so this is going to help streamline that, make it efficient.
We got every department in our workflow, involved. It's 911 management, it's sewer district, anyone. So when I build a building or I build a road, we got to be able to have a trackable, human error out of it. See where you're at in the process rolling through. So full control, on the workflows. It's a good thing. This is a new type of software where our administrative users, we don't have to know how to code, and we can really work with all the departments in the parish to make a really good system. So we're looking forward to a nice program. Building permits and inspections, planning and zoning approvals, code enforcement. As you know, nuisance is big. We really need to step that up. Y'all have a beautiful parish. I mean, like the best in Acadiana. You only have a few problems, and these are the people that just take my letters and they roll them up, and so we got, we want full compliance through all of our departments in the parish, from sheriff to DA, and we're really looking forward to being able to do it.
Is this going to track when the time that something gets?
Man,
one of us sends a
you're going to drop a man.
You make that first visit.
You drop a pin on a GIS
visit.
map. Like the website will open up from your link on that we have now. You can drop a complaint on a parcel. It's an automatic notification to my code enforcement. We go out, we take a picture. When that picture's time stamped. 10 days starts. I mean, it's something to be able to track. And when you have 100 of these properties, when nuisance got jumped on us, it was like, hey. We got a lot of lots out there that need to be cleaned up, Sheriff sales bare right now. So contractor license registration is the big one, like we talk about with roofs, we talk about commercial buildings. These people are at the whim of pricing, I get it, but sometimes we're at the whim of the hurricanes too. And we're at the whim of, our houses standing up, and withstanding. So, hiring the right people and credentials is important, and I would be happy to get anybody through the licensing process. It's not, I would love to. A fully optimized approach. This is just like the highest level that they can offer. Easy for applicants, scalable for our staff, scalable, big deal for us. When we get hit by disasters, we will have so much permitting and processing that has to go through with FEMA that it is a program that can track it. Like these people can drop a permit on me at 2 a.m., it's going to get processed, and that is what's going to happen. If you have a big storm, I get 1,000 phone calls on my email saying my power line just dropped, and we have to process those permits like immediately. We want to, so it's really hard to do that without a program. Unlimited users for our administrative staff, our different departments. That's a big deal. That used to cost a lot of money to do. You don't have to do that anymore. Customer concentric. 5 times the process, it speeds up the process. Our phone calls is always a big one for us. It decreases a lot of that for all of our departments. We're going to be live in hopefully less than 6 months. The first part of it I can get in a few days, but the main huge workflow, we're really looking forward to having this thing you know, serving the parish, but this year, you know, and 98% faster when we're processing permits and licensing. So it's just unbelievable what it does for our people. Constituents are coming here and they're waiting on a phone call. The witness is like, man, they're gonna get it. They can send it to me. I can open it up at 2 a.m. wherever I'm at in the world, you know. So
Is this something that you're doing just for planning and zoning? Is this something y'all considering?
That's what I talk about.
I don't know if Larry's considering
Every
using it
department,
everywhere
I get
else.
the plug.
Because I'm looking at it as that.
There's some other stuff. They have other modules that can go really for other departments, you know. But when we build a building and when we build a road, like I said, like every department has a little bit to say in that process, and we don't want to get past that department and this department until we have all those approvals right, and then we can move a permit forward or a development forward, you know. So a lot of the departments are going to get to play with this, no doubt. And that's what I got. That's it.
Very good. Are you? All right, Mr. Broussard is finished. Next is Miss Natalie Broussard.
Yeah, Jacob, Jimmy,
Not here tonight. Sorry.
I think what you're doing with the department is great. I like the direction that it's going in. I think this is great for the parish. I can't support this resolution just because we're prudent administrators of the budget, and I have a big issue when you come in and you ask for $5,000 for vehicle maintenance and you ask for $6,000 for travel, and our council goes, oh, we don't think you're asking for enough money, we're going to throw some more money at you. I just don't think that's prudent.
I had previously asked for it.
And, well, what came to the resolution was that, and I just have a issue with that. But I didn't want you to think that my vote had anything as far as a lack of support of what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right.
Are you?
All right, Ms. Broussard. That's it. Mr. Richard, you have something?
As you can see, the permit planning and zoning department has completely changed from what we had. We used to outsource planning and zoning. We were spending roughly $300,000 a year. Shall I say the company that we was outsourcing was receiving $300,000 a year, and we were spending roughly $300,000 a year to pay for our employees. Since we decided to go in-house, over the past 12 months, we have actually received over $1 million doing permitting ourselves. Iberia Parish is in a position right now to where we have nothing but growth in front of us. We had a meeting, I guess, a week and a half ago. We did the Zoom meeting with the vice president of the company or whatever, talking about this meaning the software package. The software package is actually going to help us from where we won't need to hire so many people because we can do so much using the software package. I want you to understand that this is a business that we have. This is government, don't get me wrong. But we're trying to manage this parish to where we can actually get the best for the dollars that we invest. And when I look at Jacob, and Jacob and I talk all the time, some things he do, look, I manage the parish, so I want results, and I want results. So Jacob and I go through a lot, and he's doing a fantastic job. But I just want all of you to know that we work extremely close. We have meetings every Monday morning, staff meeting and directors meetings, and we go through each and everything that's taking place in this parish. This is something that I feel that we need in this parish. We're getting ready to hire a new person.
Right.
We just hired Jimmy. Jimmy's doing a fantastic job, and Jacob's going to hire someone else. And we're moving along.
Right.
This parish here have a lot that's going on. We got to make sure we're dealing with all of the regulations that's coming from the federal government.
Right.
And we moving along. So I would love your support on this.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, with no further comments, can we vote on Mr. Napier's amendment?
Amended the language, yeah.
Right. Okay. We'll vote on Mr. Napier's amendment.
Thank you, Jacob.
And that motion passes. Ms. Natalie Broussard in opposition. Now we're voting on the amendment with the main motion. Vote your machines, please. Mr. Pollard and Mr. Swear. All right, that motion carries. Ms. Natalie Broussard in opposition.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Yeah. Next, we have ordinances introduced for publication. So you'd like to dispense the reading of the official journal? Okay. We need to vote on that, and we have a vote on dispersing the reading of the official journal, please. And that motion carries.
Did he adjourn already?
Okay, let us, our next meeting is July 24th. I'd like to remind the general public, all adjudicated properties can be found on iberiaparishgovernment.com through CivicSource. And also stormwater management survey is on Iberia Parish Government website. I need a motion to adjourn. I have a motion by Mr. Ronsonet and second by Mr. Broussard. Please vote your machines to adjourn.
That's it.
Mr. Napier?
He's gone.
Gone. Okay, and we are adjourned.